After loads of traps, puzzles, riddles, and exposition, oh my god, there was so much exposition, we are finally ready to finish this journey. At long last, it is time to embark onto the shores of gold to defeat the final boss of Sea of Thieves. But before we could enter his golden cage to take the fight to the source, we had to prepare. There were more puzzles for us to complete, and if the last 8 tall tales were not enough to convince you, let me assure you that the challenge ahead was not gonna be an easy one. I gathered my crew for a bit of a pep talk because the stakes were never higher. All I'm asking of you guys is that we stick together, nobody runs ahead, and we do everything together. Every puzzle, every combat encounter, we're sticking together.
Well, that doesn't sound like fun.
It sounds like us surviving and actually doing this.
All I'm gonna say is, I didn't do it.
Taking responsibility was never our strong suit, but alas, this was my crew, and unfortunately, it was not gonna get any better than that. To start the tall tale, we had to talk to some random NPC at Morrow's Peak that I never heard of before, and the game did this annoying thing where they show you a character just to tell you how badass they are, when in actuality, all they do is stand there and talk. Needless to say that none of us were impressed, so long that you put the Shroud Breaker on our ship, that's all that we wanted. And frankly, we had better things to do. You know what we should do, instead of listening to this person?
Leave.
A ship makeover. And that's exactly what we did, with a destination as coveted as the shores of gold. It was only fitting for the Rocinante to also look the part. We were glad to sail on a brigantine, more storage to hold the piles of gold that we intended to bring back, gold that some of us already began spending. In anticipation of our payout, Birdie was dumping hundreds of thousands of gold on ship decorations, while Brandon and I were getting the ship ready for our departure. And depart we did. The anchor was raised at the crack of dawn to finally begin our adventure. Now, you would assume that working towards this goal for the past few weeks would bring some level of enthusiasm to the crew, but contrary to expectation, said crew was not even fully aware of what we were doing.
Where are we going, by the way?
North.
Wait, are we going to the Shores of Gold?
Yeah, that's the whole point of today.
Oh, poggers. I didn't realize we were already going in.
What do you mean already? It took us weeks.
He's like, wait, this hasn't been that long.
I figured we would have to do something before we could go.
Well, we have done 8 tall tales worth of things to get this little thing on the ship,
yeah,
so that we can actually go there.
8 tall tales before this one.
You see this? You see this thing, Birdie?
Okay,
this,
never
over
mind.
there?
You know what? I'm just.
That's what we worked for 8 tall tales.
Yes. Thing with the stones and the Shroud Breaker. Yeah.
If this is how we bickered before even getting to the shores of gold, then I don't want to know how much worse it's gonna get once we are there. But the bickering stopped once the water turned red with the blood of the fallen. Wait, sorry, wrong game. Yeah, entering the Red Sea is definitely always a bit of a scary proposition. We knew that in theory we should be safe, but that did not stop us from hunkering around the Shroud Breaker to watch it do its magic.
I'm actually a little concerned this isn't doing anything.
Is this supposed to be like something happening?
Oh, wait, no,
Oh, there we go.
It
is clap activated. It's good to get confirmation on our weeks of work not being for nothing. The Shroud Breaker did in fact break the shroud and allowed us to make way towards our destination. Though as much as we appreciated the magic that protected our ship, it also made it really difficult to see what's in front of us. And let's just say that parking was not Birdie's strong suit.
Right, I think we are no longer beached.
You can get into this bay if you stay close to the spiky rock.
No.
You can, I can see from here.
This water is way too shallow.
No, we got this.
Now look at close to the spiky rock.
Get it.
Yeah, where we are right now is fine.
Now, would you be surprised if I told you that it took the entire evening just to get the ship parked? It took us so long, in fact, that I wanted to take a little break and wait for daytime before we embark on our adventure. And of course, this was the perfect opportunity for things to immediately go horribly wrong.
I'm stuck and I can't black screen. I don't know how to get out.
Brandon, how did you get up here?
I climbed.
Did you go off on your own again? Guys, what did I just say about sticking together? What are you doing?
Well, Brandon's the one that freaking... Let's clip. I have to go save Brandon now. He went off on his own.
Oh my god.
It's not my fault he freaking climbed up here like a freaking horse from Skyrim.
I don't know why I expected anything else. So the Brandon rescue mission definitely did not go as planned, because neither of us knew how the heck he Skyrim'd his way up there. Firebombs were his only way out of that misery, but once we were all united, we could finally begin venturing deeper into the shores of gold. Which, by the way, these particular shores could not be any less gold if they tried. But the gold must be somewhere, so we began digging into the book that was given to us at Morrow's Peak. Birdie deduced that there are a total of 4 vaults we need to clear in order to get our hands on 4 medallions. Medallions entrance, which presumably will open the way towards the riches that we came here for in the first place. The only problem was that Birdie was not very good at multitasking. Skeletons kept coming at us and we had to defend our captain, who insisted on standing in the same spot whilst reading. Eventually, we got tired of all that hostility and looked for shelter, accidentally stumbling upon what appeared to be the first vault. But it didn't take long for us to understand that without the information in the book, we were not gonna get far in solving this puzzle. Birdie, are you coming or not?
Where are you? Why are you guys over there?
We told you like 18 times we're going in because it's getting hostile out there.
Yeah, but I don't think that's where we need to go.
It literally is.
But we have to go to all these vaults eventually. That's the closest one. Just get your over here.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Can you believe this guy?
Imagine listening.
Right?
Imagine not listening to the guy that actually read the book.
Well, you can prove your reading abilities once we're in here. Not go to the opposite end of the island first. Turns out we had very different ideas of what it means to be efficient. Alas, our captain finally graced us with his presence and we could begin making progress on the puzzle. So this one was pretty interesting because upon lighting the braziers, instead of being met with a rising flood of water, we were given a map that highlighted several locations on the shores of gold. We swiftly deduced that since the book did not give us any clues as to which other symbols we needed to complete this puzzle, that the locations on the map show us the solution. Since this appeared to be a static puzzle, of course we could have saved ourselves the trouble and just googled the solution. But because we are real gamers, we instead came up with a very sophisticated way to complete this challenge.
It looked kind of like a fire pit. Does that sound right?
Is there a fire pit, Brandon?
Let me check. Number 4 has a fire pit.
It has a fire pit!
Okay, put fire pit at number 4.
Put fire pit at number 4.
I put fire pit on number 4.
He put fire pit at number 4. Now that's what I call gaming, and with our efforts combined, we could successfully complete the first puzzle to claim our first medallion. Now it made sense to Brandon and me that the three of us should reconvene after achieving this grand feat. We followed Birdie's tracks along a mountain path, though we couldn't help but feel like he was running away from us. Obviously, we didn't know where the heck we were going because our captain was the one who read the book, but once we reached the first plateau, it dawned on us that he actually was running away from us. Distant shouting of the degenerate variety followed us as Brandon and I decided to say screw it and explore the island on our own. Our ankles were feeling pretty sturdy that day, cushioning a pretty high fall before carrying us ever onward. And after a bunch more walking, the two of us were closing in on the second vault. I cautiously approached to try and figure out what we had to do here, but unfortunately for me, this place brought back some dark memories. Hello darkness, my old friend. I think we know exactly where this is going. And here's what we're gonna do, Brandon. Only one of us tries to move pictures at a time, and if one of us dies, the other gotta res them, okay?
Okay.
I have been impaled often enough to know that this was not gonna be a fun time. According to the book, our goal was to match 4 of the same picture on each of the pillars, which does appear to be simple enough, was it not for the traps around us. And let's just say that these traps were not playing fair.
Oh, what? They were down.
Okay, I'm just gonna wait for this. Oh, come on. Oh, shit! Okay. Okay. So I feel like this has a lingering hitbox.
Yes,
Wait solidly until it's gone.
What?
There was literally nothing there! Okay.
Alright, I'm not gonna move from this location now.
I really hope Birdie's doing better than us.
I have no idea what to do with this.
I'll try to get the last one and not bite the dust. What? Okay.
Why are there 4 symbols on each circle and only 3 pillars activated? Stupid.
Okay, it's not mermaid.
How? Is it? It's not boat either, right?
Okay, it's snake then.
It is snake, yeah, okay. I'm hitting it. Of course we have to. Of course we have to do multiple of them. Why wouldn't we have to do multiple of them, Brandon?
I'll go over.
Okay, we just went at the same time. That could have been disastrous.
Yeah, that's scary. Nice.
Thank God they only made us do 2. Do I trust this?
I don't know.
Okay.
Here, I'll get out of here first. Go ahead.
Okay. After a lot of trial and error, we had gotten our hands on a grand total of 3 medallions. Birdie must have finished his vault before us because he had enough time to find the cave where we had to bring them. And because Brandon needed a bathroom break anyway, we decided to let him deliver the coins while Birds and I went to parkour our way towards the final vault. The 2 of us wanted to wait so that we could do the final puzzle together, but Brandon did not seem like he'd be back anytime soon. So into the final vault we went. Thankfully, this was the easiest of the 4. All we had to do was align the pillars so that they would mimic the picture of of a key that we found in the cave. Definitely the most uneventful puzzle on the Shores of Gold so far. After reuniting with Brandon, we made way towards the Medallion Cave, and let me tell you, the real puzzle was finding your way around this island. This has not been very well designed, if you ask me.
It's like the pirates didn't make this island to be very accessible.
Actually, I think the ancients made this.
I don't think they made the island, but yeah.
Well, they lived here, clearly, right? That's a good question, actually. I have not been very diligent when it comes to explaining the importance of the Shores of Gold, and that's because I don't actually know a heck of a lot about it. All I do know is that we're here to make boatloads of gold. Alas, none of that was gonna change the fact that we had a lot of walking to do. You can be dang sure that we anticipated the payout to be worthy of all the work we had to do to get it, but when we slotted the final medallion into the tablet, all we ended up getting was a single coin. You know what that means, right? We were not done yet. Well, at least we finally got our hands on something golden at the Shores of Gold, and if this massive coin was a sign for what's to come, then surely the final payment should be substantial. Finding it was our job now. The only hint we were given was a throne, and I mean, we found plenty of those around in the form of these monuments, but no idea what to do to proceed. Oh, entrance?
Oh! Brandon, come here.
We can't light these. It wasn't gonna be as simple as lighting a brazier this time. The best idea we had was trying to parkour our way up the broken monument to enter it from the top, though it did take me a minute to realize how much of a waste of time that was. Wait, what are we doing? Why don't we just use the ship?
What do you mean by that?
Cannon fire?
Oh.
I'll go first, and I'll tell you how to adjust it. Because inevitably, this is not gonna be it. Actually, I'm on top. You can nudge it a tiny bit higher, and you should have it.
Well, I landed right here. Oh, cliff.
Is that it?
This is it.
Okay. Nice.
Brandon, cannon.
There's a lever here. It was that simple. Okay, cool. It sure is funny how simple these things appear once you have figured them out. The coin we have obtained earlier slotted into some kind of contraption, just like the medallions themselves, opening the way towards our destiny. The last thing between us and the vast riches of the Shores of Gold was this cave, though if you know us, you also know that caves are not exactly our strong suit. Off to a great start. Wait, oh no!
Oh.
It spawns us in the... I got shanked, guys, help.
Wait, come back.
I got shanked again, help.
Oh my god.
Oh, hey ferryman, how's it going?
It's gonna be a long one. I'm not gonna run through the second one like the bozo this time.
Like that?
I'm not in here.
It's got some Zenyatta level hitboxes.
It really does, yeah.
Alright, I'm a parkour master.
Bye-bye, birdie.
We'll wait for you. Just don't stop. Never stop.
Okay. Try and jump. Yeah, jump over.
Yeah, don't touch them. There's a second lever over there. I'll try to go there.
Oh.
All hands on deck.
Ooh.
Wait for it. Don't go in. That's a weird looking skelly. But there's gold. Like lots of it.
Ooh, do we keep all this?
Check this out. Is it like the vaults? Can you pick it up?
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
I can't pick it up. Hello.
Well, here we go.
Oh.
Okay. It seems like we had found our nemesis. The only one who stood between us and the vast riches of the Shores of Gold was the gold hoarder. And you can be dang sure that we had every intention to rip every last gold piece out of his scrawny hands. Though it wasn't gonna be easy, he had a dangerous moveset including tossing gold coins to summon minions, an area of effect gold splash that pushes us away, and he could disappear into a pile of gold at will to reappear somewhere else. Which basically means he's a Mr. Beast reskin of Grey Marrow. And since we have already defeated Grey Marrow, yeah, we were not gonna give this guy any respect whatsoever.
Hey, remember when we said we should have brought Disney sticks?
Yeah, you know what? Hindsight 2020. Do you have confidence in us being able to do all the previous things with the Disney sticks in hand?
I do now. Yeah, there he goes.
He's doing the Mr. Beast Twitter giveaway again.
That was perhaps the most unceremonious death I've ever seen. Well, unceremonious as that death was, this was it, right? We thought at that stage we could just grab as much gold as we could carry and sail back home without ever having to worry about money ever again. But little did we know what it was that we actually conquered.
Look what's happening.
This is mine now.
Birdie's the new Lich King.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh, come on.
I don't want to be here anymore.
Seriously? Our reward is exposition? Now, if you thought that going through all this trouble just to get lectured by a knockoff Santa Claus was a disappointment, then just you wait, because it gets worse. The dude told us a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't ask for, including the fact that we were not allowed to take any of the gold with us because it was cursed. I mean, I love some autonomy in the matter. Personally, I think I look pretty cool as a gold-covered cursed skeleton. But as if that was not annoying enough, he just had to rub it in with the one line that none of us wanted to hear right now.
It's not about the gold.
Oh, he's gonna say it.
Shut up.
He's saying it. He said it.
Shut up.
He actually said it.
Shut up, stop, go away, you're cringe.
I think it's entirely about the gold, not gonna lie.
It's entirely about the gold. And everybody, it's the shores of gold. And he's trying to tell us it's not about the... Okay, the exit is open. Let's just leave. It's not about the gold. It's about the glory. Probably the absolute worst thing he could have said to us. Much like exposure, I can't just walk up to a McDonald's and buy a Big Mac with a handful of glory. This finale was a resounding disappointment, especially considering the fact that half of us had already spent a bunch of gold because we expected to get a huge payday, though there was still one thing that the shows of gold could be useful for. Now that we've gone through all this trouble, you guys ready to do it 4 more times for the gold curse?
No.
But you guys know why we did this, right? Like the real reason why we're doing this whole shows of gold thing? And with that, we can close the book on yet another chapter of the Sea of Tales. Thank you everybody so much for sticking around this crazy adventure. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you feel so inclined, hit that subscribe button to join the crew, and don't forget to ring that bell icon to not miss out on our next adventure. I hope you guys have a day filled with the tallest tales on the sea, and until next time, peace!